And this is just basic, I'm stupid troubleshooting, which I've done a lot of. Except minor error on page 5. Error on page 5. Huh?
Are you getting errors?
No.
No?
I was looking for his error.
Oh.
How to fix error on page. Fix error on page and other errors. Works on Windows 7, 8, 10. There's an article by that name. And the way you need to know this trick. You need to put error on page in double quotes when you're searching. That it just restricts it to that string.
Oh, okay.
And there's, I'll send you a link to this particular one. How to fix error on page. Actually, let me put it up there. Nobody is right now.
That'll keep me from finding things that Patty Page did wrong.
Yeah. How'd you know? You need to get some more sleep.
I get too much. I get too much sleep. That's why I'm tired.
So it's a the Wi-Fi module is a NodeMCU Wi-Fi.
That's an ESP 8266.
Easy installation. That sounds scary.
Yeah, free trial. Oh no.
Go back.
How to fix it doesn't have Arduino in there. How to fix error on page at speedy.com. But there are some opportunities there.
Actually say it, doesn't it?
That's first
If you
page.
zoom in right there, though, it says ESP 8266 Pack 12.
Yeah, I need a
Okay, let's go back to the last page.
yeah 8266 mod.
Okay, so it's a modified 12. It's either a 12 or a 13. It's the same.
Causes of error on page
2.4 gigahertz.
means that there was a malfunction in your system
802.11
operation.
AG and
Oh, incorrect or failed installation, or incorrect or failed installation.
NodeMCU is
Invalid entries in
it's
your
like
Windows
Arduino is the name
registry.
of
You may want to do an uninstall
particular-
if you didn't install and
So it's like
reinstall.
they're developing more for it.
sort of, yeah.
Yeah, I might
And
keep running into that same error in the registry. Okay.
they have their own IDE for it, but you can use the Arduino IDE. They have it usually comes with
Failure
something
to correctly
firmware on it.
one of the normal operations by
Supposedly
a system
easier
or
to program.
application component.
But if you're an Arduino person, then Arduino is the way to do it. And if you don't have it installed in the board with the board manager, then you won't see it. But that's a different story, different topic for a different day.
Manually editing the register, I don't think we're going to do that.
There's actually several libraries here for that.
That.
For the ESP 8266.
Oh, yeah. You need the board the board installed before you can use any of that stuff.
Yeah, I'll have to do that at home.
But that's called a NodeMCU board. There was 2 different versions. That's probably version 1. maybe 1.1. But when you get it in your board manager, you select NodeMCU version 1. And
That speed test is a nice
He should
location,
be.
handy.
should be good.
All right.
And I also learned, you know, the basics any router guy should know. Don't put your router near anything else. Don't put your router near a PC. Don't do that. And I said, okay, well, I'll put my router up high, the best location in the house. Well, I put it up high and it worked bad. I'm like, okay. Well, I looked around and then said, oh, right up above me were 2 cameras. I said, oh, I wonder why it's bad. And then I put it near a baby monitor, and a baby monitor didn't like it. Didn't like the router. So I moved the baby monitor. Baby monitor doesn't like the camera either, by the way. Everybody have 2.4 gigahertz baby monitor.
Welcome,
Come in.
welcome. We are here. So are you.
You're gonna get respect here if you come in late. That's a shoot. Proves Frank's not even here yet. Don't get much respect till Frank gets here.
Downtown Cincinnati.
Now, would this board be able to prevent the
Then you should
Shouldn't have any
problem that we
trouble.
were talking about last week where the motor driver could potentially blow up the servos?
I'm not as convinced as I was last week that those are.
No.
Because I did actually look a little bit after.
Yeah, that's
They're
No, I
strange.
don't.
They're different. They look like servos, but I'm not as convinced as I was last week.
CNC lathes.
But
I see little knobs sticking out of the end.
They just have it listed in
Start roughing it in.
the chassis kit, I think.
yeah.
Angle on the end of it, pull backs out.
Your information is, I protect it with my life. I don't distribute it. If you want somebody else to know your information, you may give it to them or tell me. Distribute your email address, blah, blah, blah.
I mean,
But no, it wasn't.
Otherwise, we don't propagate. You get a meeting announcement each
looks like a
week.
damn servo. You've only got 2 wires connected.
Our fearless leader.
Yeah.
Servos have
Yeah.
3 wires.
Sometimes 4.
Since we've been here.
Yes, I am less convinced.
Anything
No, it
in
was.
charge.
I'm just confused. Hopefully it just works.
It may be a DC, some sort of DC motor in a servo package.
That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping you don't blow stuff up.
Thanks.
I wouldn't.
What do you
they would
like?
Give you stuff that would
Steve?
blow up stuff.
Yep,
I mean,
Steve Jones.
you know what I mean?
Right.
I'm
Here's
kind of
what it is.
president of the Cincinnati Mixed User Group.
FM90 DC motors
Been
look
following
like
the
micro
Raspberry Pi a lot.
servos.
Some
Because they're building this
going
so
around
fast.
the know.
So don't get confused.
When the Tinker
Don't
board went on
get
sale,
confused.
I ran out and bought one, and now I'm like,
That
no,
makes
I shouldn't have
sense.
done that.
I was wondering. why there's only
Here's your brother
2
here.
wires
This is Leroy.
And the other servos
He's a Linux guy
have 3 or 4.
and microprocessor guy. We got a new guy we probably need to make. I'm Jim McCrary, the club president.
I'm Kevin.
Nice to meet you.
I'm Leroy.
Mike?
And Ken.
Nice to meet you. Steve Jones.
I heard Tinkerkit while I was talking otherwise.
Yeah, I bought one going, oh, that's so cool. And
Then you said no.
well,
It's one of those abandoned deals that they still are desperately holding on to hope that people will actually start using them.
yeah, well, I mean, it has some neat features. It really does. I think that not putting a mic on the Raspberry Pi has been a shortcoming. I don't know. But yeah, getting it to boot in anything other than their image is not simple.
I've got I bought a bunch of Tinkerkit stuff when it went on sale,
Mhm.
just because it went on sale. Then I kind of went, okay.
I really wish the Pi had that color-coded 40-pin connector. That's cool. The best thing I like about it, the 17-cent connector.
Yeah. I could see that. I picked up some Tinkerkit LCDs
Mhm.
displays, which 16x2
Okay.
displays. Got most of them for under $7, and
I don't think we're talking about the same thing.
we're talking about
I'm talking about
No,
the
we're-
ASUS Tinkerboard.
we're talking about something different.
He changed his
Just got
subject on you.
Okay. Just got released like 3 weeks ago.
Oh, well then no, we're definitely not talking
Okay.
about the same
Now,
thing.
so the Tinkerboard is
Oh,
pin for pin compatible.
The Tinkerboard, Asus Tinkerboard.
Yeah.
See, I thought we were talking Tinkerkit.
Now, sorry, I'm not sure what Tinkerkit is.
Never mind.
Okay.
I'm not here. I'm somewhere else. I'll be somewhere
Yeah, I thought
else.
it was Tinkerkit, just a different name.
There's a
Tinkerboard.
lot of those,
The Tinkerboard
electronics
is
ones. Kits that you can get or subscription boxes that just
Mhm.
aren't worth it. Like I saw one that they have you on a 12-month program to begin with before you start receiving the current boxes.
Really?
And every month they send you an Arduino and some project. It's like, that'd be nice if you wanted a house full of Arduinos, but
have a house full of Arduinos.
but a lot of their projects were very base level, like something that you'd be teaching someone in high school or something like that. Blinking an LED was the first one. It's like, I ain't paying $40 for them to send me out an LED and an Arduino and tell me how to blink an LED.
Yeah. Got to start somewhere.
I think I misunderstood because I was talking. So I just heard Tinker and added the kit part.
Yeah. That was issue.
Tinkerkit had associated themselves with Arduino, and they're weird little plug-in connectors,
Mhm.
and it was supposed to make life easier, and nobody really latched onto it, and nobody really used it.
Okay.
Arduino still loves the idea of like a modular kind of system.
Yeah, their hat or whatever.
Yeah. So that's where I was at.
Okay.
Okay, let's get him introduced to the Automation Technology Club. This is the screen. It's Leroy brings in Chromecast. We connect to it
Okay.
wirelessly. We'll tell you which router you can connect to. It has 150 number in the string when you connect to the router.
Okay.
And then anybody can Chromecast. It's open. Let's see what we got here. We got I just sent you a meeting announcement, which I
Okay.
get every week, hopefully most weeks, depending on, am I awake or not. There's a link to the meeting announcement. That's this live one. As I added that during the week, you'll see it change. You can go look at it anytime. Here's the link to the meeting video, which Leroy typically does a meeting video, which is, what do we call it? Ad hoc, impromptu. So
Okay.
you'll get an idea of what we do here and what's available. He's been putting it on Google Plus, too, I noticed, the access to it. There's a link to it if you want to see the meetings. The electricity price options, I put that up there, people who do use Duke Energy. The Club Google Plus site, Leroy is the moderator and caretaker for that site. And it's semi-active. Vicente must be traveling this week.
He is.
And let's see, and we typically, you'll find up there stuff like this, topics that we'll be discussing today. Frank, the guy who is our hero, because he manages to come in late week after week, and we promote that, and he's adhered to our wishes. And that's Joel. It's not Joel. It's Kevin.
Yeah.
How did I get that? How did I get Joel? That's common for me, by the way. If I call you Fred or something, just ignore me. Happens a lot.
I'll probably respond.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, you.
Yeah.
That's one of the more pleasant things I get called. Okay, and if as you come in, you want to do projects, you want to do a Raspberry Pi project, we encourage you to have your own work area to document your project.
Okay.
I prefer for you to document your stuff so that somebody else could do it. We're kind of promoting getting stuff to other do and educate them, and
Okay.
for kids and stuff like that. So a full featured site. We do have a GitHub site where Leroy and Vicente and some of the other guys keep their documentation too. These I'll get you a folder on the cloud if you want it. It's just a Google folder.
Okay.
And I got a whole bunch of them. If you want to have your own folder, you can do that. Just tell me where it is and I'll point at it.
Okay.
We also are starting to use Google Plus to communicate on projects too, for internal stuff. Well, it's external now too. So the participation notes, like in the meeting announcements, I typically save them over there so you can see what we've been up to, subjects we've discussed. Techno Scraps is pretty much dead. Trash can transport is a long-term project. The original objective is for elderly people to move their garbage cans to the road.
Okay.
And in some semi-automated process. We wanted a fully automated process. Mine is in the getting it to the road with left, right, and forward and reverse.
Okay.
EFOB, my first iteration. Unfortunately, these guys stay busy and I don't have to do anything. I do stuff when nobody else does anything.
To the road's easy in my case.
Yeah.
I've got a hill like that.
I'm gonna hit
Getting it back is the pain.
Yeah.
To the road. Go.
So we've had lots
Getting
of
it
discussions
stopped.
on that.
Yeah.
Let's see. I need to take you over to our editor's corner. How much? Let's see if that's it. Okay. Okay, we promote positive attitudes. We try not to say anything negative about people. Sometimes we do inadvertently or joking, but we try to keep that down. Everybody's supposed to be positive. If if you mess up, we don't care. If you don't show up, Frank's supposed to be here. He's not here. We don't care.
Jeremy's here.
Nobody will say we'll pick on Frank because he's always late, but that's his excellent mark of excellence. Education, we try, like I said, we try to do our documentation in a form that would be useful by a kid and could be considered educational. We kind of like that. Promote the general welfare. We support spin-off clubs. Maybe there'll be a spin-off of this thing someday. Where's Ray? Right, so if you have a skill set, you can. And we have some very nice skill sets in this organization, different skill sets, and most people have a skill set that you don't know about. And I'm learning that in my later years. we had a guy from Museum in a couple of times, and his a very interesting skill set. We talked about op-amp technology, basic electricity, electronics. We talked about Arduino, and that got microprocessor guys involved, and we got microprocessor. I like to share technical information. I like to improve productivity and value for our and use of our technical resources. It's all volunteer. Everything you do here, you'll be volunteered. We try not to put pressure on anybody. If you want to do something, you can. If you just want to look, you can. If you want to sleep, okay, that's fine. We're looking at you, Kenny. I don't know what they're talking about.
I work hard all day.
Yeah, I may join you today. I'm more. Okay, so that's basically it. Your information here, I won't, like I said, I won't distribute your information. So we're pretty tight about that. Other than that, you're good to go.
Okay.
Here's the meeting announcement. Okay, and no, that's not it. And so Martha talked about the escape room and asked me about the escape room thing. We might start that. I must have two. I didn't save that. I've got another page open. Okay, Kevin, what do we want to do? How long is your presentation, Kevin?
Shouldn't be long. I've got a schematic and then just a quick run through of the code.
Okay, what we
There's Frank.
oh, there's Frank. The format here is what I like to do is just because we have all levels in here. Some high-level people and some newbies, low-level people like me in this area. I like to describe the overall concept, the administrative level concept to begin with. This is what we're going to talk about, and this is the hardware we're going to use, and this is the objective, and just a basic description of this is the objective, these are the hardware that we're using. So, Kevin, you ready to go?
Yep.
And he'll just take over the screen whenever he's ready. That's what we do.
Click cast. There you go. Should do it. It should do it. Just trying. There it is.
All right, so the main chip that I'm using on here is the.
No. What's the objective? What's your overall objective of this? What's the name of this?
I am building a surface mount soldering oven because I'm going to college, and I'm noticing a lot of newer components they're no longer being manufactured in an easy.
So you're going to build a surface-mounted soldering station?
Yes.
Okay.
And what I'm demoing or showing today is the temperature sensing part to make sure that the oven doesn't get too hot or heat up too quickly. And I've got the K-type thermocouple, which is just a temperature sensor, hooked up to the Max 6675.
So this is a chip that's made for K-type thermocouples?
Yes, it's a analog to digital converter specifically meant for the K-type thermocouples.
Okay.
And we've got pin 1 is hooked up to ground. 2 is the negative end of thermocouple. 3 is the positive. And then 4 is VCC. And then 5, 6, and 7 are connected to the Arduino for communication.
Now, did you realize that when you're using a thermocouple, you have to be careful with the wires that you use?
Yes.
Okay,
I've got 2 capacitors here as well to get rid of
typically
noise.
in the field, if you have a K-type thermocouple, I'll have K thermocouple wire that you'll connect to the input. And if you don't, what you end up with is dissimilar metals, and you end up with a voltage injected on top of your signal voltage. Be aware. Okay.
And I've got 2 capacitors here that are just meant for noise cancellation. Because once I get this oven completely set up, I'm going to
These are bypass capacitors for the voltage, input voltage, or
it's mostly to reduce noise because once
On
I
the
might
power
have a
supply?
fan on it and all sorts of things oscillating on and off. So
okay. And that's called bypass capacitors typically on electronic stuff, right? Okay.
I learned something new today. And then for the Arduino code, the code that I've used is based off of a project by Kevin Dara. He's on a YouTube guy. I include the SPI library for the MAX 6675 communication liquid crystal display because of the fact that the readout on it. And then I set up the display. And then I've got a few variables.
Okay, so you're using a library, liquid crystal library, is that what that is?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've got two byte variables, first and second, which will be the reading from the MAX 6675. The temperature comes out in 2 bytes. And then I've got the temperature variable itself. And I've got the serial.begin is so that way I can actually verify that the reading I'm getting on the LCD is what's printing on the computer. And then I've just pretty much setting up the LCD display, a 16 by 2 character display. And then this is pretty much, I'm not exactly sure what each of these are. I haven't really looked into the SPI yet fully. But it's the chip select the data in, and I believe CK.
Probably so, man.
Yeah, so far.
And the chip select is a active low, so to disable the chip, you have to set it to high. Basic setup for different settings on the MAX 6675. It's getting the most significant bit first, which is the first chunk of the byte. And then this one is setting it into just a receive data. You're not sending any data to the MAX 6675. You're just gaining data back. And this is the clock divider to set the speed of the chip itself. And then I begin the SPI transmission a half a second delay.
And you go into your loop. Okay.
In my loop, I set it up very basic. I just have it pretty much calling out functions. I got the get temperature, then I've got it displaying the temperature through the serial monitor as well as the LCD.
Boy, this is nice. That library makes it Piece of cake, huh?
Yeah, it does. And then the
Silly question. Does it respond back with actual temperature, or is it something you need to scale?
well, what the chip does is it takes the analog reading and it converts it to a binary form, so that instead of getting, you actually get the temperature from the chip.
And it's a binary number, it sounds like, instead of ASCII.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
And I've got the get temperature. I first start out by enabling the max 6675 by writing the chip select high. And then I delay because it takes about 220 milliseconds to actually make a conversion on the chip. And then I gain the most significant byte and the least significant byte. Then I turn the chip off again and delay for another half a second. And then first I have to get rid of, there's a few junk bits on the chip, or that the chip sends back to create a full 2 bytes. So I shift the first one to the left 3 places, and then the second byte to the right 5 places to get rid of those bytes and to be able to turn it into a 12-bit reading.
You're saying shifting the bytes, you mean shift the bits?
Yeah, shift the bits.
Okay.
Sorry.
Cool, shifting bits. I like that. Wow.
And then the 12 bits ends up coming out to be larger than the actual temperature scale that it has, so you have to multiply that 0.25 to actually get it down to actual temperature. And then I have minus 3.5 degrees to actually calibrate it. And then I did have this in there, which converted it to Fahrenheit, but I decided that it's probably not needed for this group as much. And that is it. If anyone wants to come around, you can kind of see it running.
Boom! He boomed it.
Teacher test 22.50.
That's Celsius, right?
Yeah.
I hope so.
I would hope so. We'd be pretty freezing in here, right?
But that's all I have.
So,
Pot's just for your
how
contrast.
fast is this? I mean,
This is this display. He's talking to it serially via SPI using discrete ports, discrete output ports, and discrete input ports.
And I'm not exactly sure. I need to look at the data sheet for this, but I think the whole
see, it's going down.
probe has to be at the same temperature for it to actually read properly.
Is that why it's going down?
It's
Yeah,
it
I've
depends
been
on how the
working on
thermocouple
figuring
is
it
made.
out.
It's probably where it is. You have the wires coming out typically are type K, and it's chromel, alumel, whatever,
Right.
and it's wherever that junction is the temperature. Now, what they can do is they can wind the entire length of the probe to be the junction, and it'll take the average temperature across the entire junction. Typically, it's the end, though.
And I
But it
brought my
depends.
meter in to kind of now it's
Oh, it's got it.
slowly going back up.
It's going down when it gets warm. It's possible you've got it hooked up backwards.
Its baseline's calibrated, but
Yeah.
inverted.
It's what it looks like. It's inverted to me, or something.
Or you got cold.
Yeah.
Or I've got. I don't think so.
I don't think
I'm
it's that
running my
complicated.
meter because of, I've been using the meter, K-type thermocouple tube, kind of calibrate the temperature to make sure that the readings are about on point.
Yeah, see, I am going way up if I grab this one. And it's going pretty fast.
This is library drain.
And I might have to,
Drop the leads.
see if I've got.
Or your bit shift isn't right or something.
Yeah, I can take a look at that as well.
If you want to wind your own, somewhere in my garage, I've got 5 pounds of iron constant wire.
He's even worse than I am. He knows the wire.
This one studied out at 33.7 degrees Celsius, 0.8, 0.7.
Later on
So
tonight, I'll do
this
more
thing
testing.
it was dropping. I mean, it was dropping big time. It had me down at 13 degrees Celsius. Ain't right.
Yeah, I'll have to test it to see if I flip the wires around to see if it starts giving a better reading or a better temperature adjustment.
If you've got the bare ends of the wire, the iron sticks to a magnet better. The constant tan is almost ostentatic. And the iron should be negative. 90% certain that.
And I want to be able to take, if this probe doesn't work as well with this case on M, I might have to take that off.
It should be okay. It'd just be a little slow is all.
See, it still hasn't quite got. So
The thermocouple goes bad. You flip the wire off and twist the wires together. You got another one.
And I brought this to kind of show everyone. This is the solid state relay that I'm going to be using to turn the oven on and off.
Solid state relay, flip flop.
Flip flop.
Pretty much, it's got
Can't think of anything else.
it's got low voltage input, and then it's got 2 pins that are for high voltage.
Yeah, he's just controlling it. It's just a
Triac or something.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
yeah.
Drive a diode on the low voltage signal to turn on the triac on the high end.
It's made for AC.
Yep.
How much,
It's going to be noisy.
how much
Yeah.
can you put through this thing, how much power?
That one there is rated for 16 amps.
Wow.
And the oven that I am using only only requires about just barely 10 amps. I've got a mount a heat sink to them where the chip will disable itself and keep the oven turned on if there's no heat sink attached to it.
That could be bad.
Yeah. The guy who I'm basing the project off of had that happen to him and almost burnt his house down, and he just barely moved in. But I think it was you two had a project that you guys were going to show.
Frank's up next. He was first scheduled. You ready to do it tonight, Frank?
I'm ready. I did it last time.
Okay. Are you done?
No, I'm not done, but
So,
I'm
yeah,
gonna show you what's been done.
Okay.
Okay, so I need to share the Chromecast.
Frank will show you how to do it. So
And
I think there's something wrong with your code.
I probably didn't share the desktop.
I won't swear to that.
Oh, this is it.
No. Right now, if I want
I have a PowerPoint,
think food problems.
all right.
which I'll describe what I've been doing, where I'm going, where I am. I have a little short demo on a web server. This thing took me some places I didn't really intend to go, but it was.
Where have you been, Frank?
I've been out there. I've been thinking of the magic of
You got,
Wemos.
we're not seeing your pages.
Oh,
You need to turn that off and reconnect using the
You gotta do the drop down and tell it full desktop.
cast. Okay, go over here and so go up here. Oh, we got to stop it first.
It doesn't matter if it stops or not.
Okay. Cast to.
Cast
change
to.
it to.
yes, desktop.
Yeah. And you got to select it, I think.
And then share.
Yeah.
Very good.
And then
That looks a little better. That looks more like a whole desktop.
and close that up there. Okay.
All right, so
Now let's see if you're working.
PowerPoint.
Okay, that's good.
And,
Yeah, he's one of those.
okay.
Yeah.
What this is about is started off about a sump pump, which stopped, and I saw this as an opportunity for Arduino. And last week, I demonstrated the jury-rigged a number of components to actually automate the sump pump. Problem with the sump pump is it has a float switch, which is mechanical, which went bad. And I was going to go get a new pump, and then I started playing with it and decided the pump is fine. It was only the switch. So that led me down the path. My intention was, and I've done that part, was to replace the float switch with an Arduino Wemos Mini, which is
I don't have one. I didn't
it's a
bring
little
it.
bitty Arduino. You'll see one.
Look, it looks like an ESP8266 on a slightly larger board.
Yeah.
It's about quarter size.
Then I decided I wanted to go a little bit further, and I wanted to get status of the pump on the web. I'm headed to now. I ran into problems. I also learned some stuff. The process is actually fairly simple, when you talk about it. But when you get down into the bits and bytes and settings and that kind of stuff, you run into things. And so I'm trying to overcome some of that now. Okay, like last week, this is a whole bunch of stuff there. At the end of the day, there was a little sensor that went into a sump pump well and detected when water was low or high, and that worked for about a week. This is the new configuration. I've got just the sensor, and you can't see it real good, but that's the Wemos board. Outlet socket.
So tell us in general, the big overview, what's Wemo?
Wemos,
Wemo.
it's a microprocessor board similar to the Arduino, but smaller and has Wi-Fi capabilities.
It's a Wemos is a brand. They make several different boards. That one is called the D1 Mini, and it is an ESP8266 in a very small package.
Yes, and it's nice if you want to. I have this outlet box there, and I could have substituted the wall socket because it's only used for the sump pump. That's the only thing it's used for. But for right now, I put it in that box. One of the things I did learn from a Wi-Fi perspective is this Mini does not have the range of the full-size board.
Okay.
So ultimately, if I want to do Wi-Fi using that board, I'm gonna have to put a Mini Pro in and actually connect the antenna to it. But you don't know until you try it. Within a reasonable distance, the full-size board connects to the Wi-Fi router. No problem at all.
Might want to use a Wi-Fi extender.
It could be another reason to use an extender. There it is.
Wasn't it last week you showed that?
Yeah, I mentioned it last
All
week.
right, this is just a picture of the socket. I didn't close it because I'm probably gonna take it back out. program it again, but it works, and been running for almost a week now. One of the things I'll probably be able to test with this thing once I log it on the web is just how many relay clicks do I get. I know I'm not going to get 1 million, but
Hope not, anyway.
hopefully it'll last longer than the pump.
Yeah. But I'm sure the relays start at about 1 million.
Yeah, but when you start using stuff from AT&T, where actually one of the jobs I used to have was testing those relays, doing life tests to see how long the thing would last. And so you start thinking about failure modes. Even with this Arduino, I always think about how long this thing is gonna last, you know. And I know they're not super spec, so you know it's susceptible to dying.
But they're also not super expensive,
No, they're
so.
not super expensive, so you can replace them. Another thing that I found, which is kind of interesting, I thought there might be problems with noise. I have not had any kind of problems at all with noise. And that's right up, it's right in that box with 60 cycles. It's in a moist area, so it's got high humidity.
Your Wimo's in that box too?
Wimo's in that box.
He plays on
small.
the edge. doesn't he?
Yeah. Nice small.
It's small.
Okay, so this just talks about what you need to make this work. And the way I was thinking last week is, okay, I need a moisture sensor. I need some software to scan the logic, you know, which is straightforward. Wi-Fi library, the one that comes with Wemos, which is good. What you need in general is you need a web client and you need a web API, not a standard website. When I started off messing with it, I thought I could just send a, what do you call these things, a pair, value pair. You know, with websites, you send a value pair to it, website responds and sends you back a web page. This doesn't work that way. It uses a web API interface, and you have to use JSON or XML, and it's just kind of like it's a protocol, and you have to follow the rules of the protocol, so to speak. And I mean, I have real web servers, and I've actually got an API set up on that web server, but this is actually the part that's not quite working yet. It uses I can use a MySQL database. Another good reason for MySQL database is I use .NET, which is Microsoft. If you wanted to use something else, MySQL is common, so your database is set. There's also something that's really key to this, and you don't think about it until you start doing it. It's like the libraries you have with Wemos and Arduino. They're there, and they're to support web APIs. But if you try to troubleshoot using the Arduino, and you've got variables, you know, with the and problems with the Arduino, and your problems with the web server, there's just too many problems. And you need something that's kind of a constant. Turns out that on Mozilla, they have a little application there that you can test. It's a web client form kind of thing that you can use to test your API.
REST client.
A REST client, yeah. That's really what you want to use, you know.
Makes it really a lot easier.
If you can make sure that with your Arduino, you know, you only got one variable, so you know your website is good. And it's actually very easy to use.
There's plugins like that for Chrome as well. So browser plugins.
But
like that.
I hadn't thought that far before I went down this path. And the way this thing is supposed to work is it's supposed to be also language agnostic. You could have .NET server and a Java client. It just doesn't matter. Or C++ client. It should work. It's the interface. Okay. All right. Another key thing here is something like Visual Studio. has to be Visual Studio, but when you set up the web API, what you want to have happen is a good part of the files that you need. You want that to be kind of semi-automatic. And then you still have to go in and create some stuff, but it's just with less code. So Visual Studio sets up the basic framework, and I've done that. And I'll show you that in a second here. Oh, all right, here's what I'm gonna do. And this is kind of like what I need to do. I'm gonna show you the server where I kind of have a little demo setup that I built with Visual Studios. I haven't built the database because I need to research. I need to fix this internet connectivity thing. From a local host point of view, I can do the simulation and it kind of works. But when I have it set up like a real website, and I can't, like I couldn't connect from here. So I don't know if I have permissions to fix or some settings that are wrong, but it don't work.
Might be
Need to go boxing with IS
It could
for
be
a
what?
little longer.
It might be a router. Sometimes you have to set up port forward.
I don't use port forwarding. I shouldn't say this because I have 26 IPs, static, real IPs, so
Okay.
I don't really
Yeah,
have to do
that'd
that.
be a pain.
So, I mean, I've got all of that, and I've got websites that are running, and, there's no problem. But I've never done this kind of thing. I've never set up a web API kind of connection. You also see with Arduino, you'll see examples. You're not going to see a lot, though. And I now know why. It takes some effort to get them set up. You either have to use a whole domain or set up a subdomain. And usually they set up a subdomain. And because for something that's a practice like that, even though I probably will when I get it working.
You could always buy like a droplet or something on
Yeah.
AWS or DigitalOcean.
I gotta get it working. And so I have problem. I don't know what, but that's sort of that. All right, now I'm already logged into the server. I'll show you what that looks like. How do I do that? Okay, where is my remote desktop? Okay. This is Visual Studio. And I set up a, let's see, let me come back out of this. I don't go to showing, well, I could show you how I set it up, but that's up the website. But it's not actually setting up the web API is not that big of a deal. Oh, I want to show you more than you're seeing. I'll go to something that shows real easy without a lot of clicking. All right, this is the form within Mozilla, and once you load this extension in, you'll have this little REST icon here, and anytime you want to test out an API, you bring it up. And in here is this is like a temporary web server. It's a local host. Something is built into, when you use Visual Studio, it has like an express web server, not a real web server, that behaves like a real web server. And it has local hosts and then a number. And then this API and person. This is a controller that I want to get at and that I want to test. And down here, well, once you set it up, you can do a send, and I'm sending this to that web server, and then it's going to return that you saw on the previous page. And it depends on what you have, what you tell it to return, it will return. But this is actually a good testing mechanism. Visual Studio. And this doesn't show up well.
Doesn't have a presentation mode?
Doesn't have a what?
Oh, that's annoying.
I
I thought I could have. I don't know. I'm
I need to stop
misremembering.
debugging. If I stop debugging, I can show you. Okay, debug. I want to stop. All right, there it is. Now,
Visual Studio had one.
This, I see the small there. These files were all created by Visual Studio. I said I wanted to create an API. I said I wanted to use C#, and I did some clicks, and all these files are created. The only thing that I did new was under the controller here, I said I wanted to add another controller, which is kind of like a class thing. And it could be, in my case, this case for the testing here was just a person. When I want to add more to it, I will I'll add more code here. But this is what I need to see across the internet, not just locally from a browser that's on the server connecting to a local host on the server. And that part doesn't work yet. When I get this, the database I could build in 15 minutes, but I'll invest some time into setting up the objects for the setting up the object for the web server that I can connect to from a Arduino client. I'll test with Mozilla if I get it working. I'm sure the Wemos I can test it with other people's API. But I'm not even bothering trying to test it with my API until I'm sure that the web server works. And just basically, I ran out of time. Enough time this week.
I was thinking, your Wemos is inside of that little box.
Yeah.
Right next to the tower.
Yeah.
Have you pulled that out and saw if the Wi-Fi signal got any better or not?
I tested it outside the box.
And it's
my real test was like in the classroom at Cincinnati State.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty strong signal. And the big board works everywhere.
Yeah.
I can just go anywhere in the building and it works. And the little board does not work unless you write up on the router. So that's when I started sending you an email about
the
antennas and stuff like
that.
Forward.
Well.
So I'm not done, but I'm on the path.
That'd be a good thing to do on Google Plus, do that communication thing.
You've made a lot of improvements on it since just last week.
What communication thing?
When you're communicating about problems and opportunities and stuff, if you put it on Google Plus, it goes to email too. It pops up in your email.
Frank hasn't committed to Google Plus yet.
Well, that's why we're working on him. Frank knows. Vicente published this stuff. We get to shoot at his.
No, I'll confess, I have bad habits.
Really?
It's hard.
It's hard
to. I have bad habits.
Get out
I
of
used
the
to be
email.
one. I still preach about. I teach people and I tell them this stuff, and then I break all the rules.
It's really pretty easy to use. I can use it, Frank.
No, that's not it. That's not it. It's just putting forth the effort, you know.
It's, you're used to using email. That's what people think of. And switching to something new is a little different.
Yeah. If I do it once, you know.
It's all right.
But it's a lot of fun. Start making me think about what happens when something happens to those one of those websites in China, which is where all of your Internet of Things data lies.
A lot of
You have stuff to more work all over the world.
I tested my old one today, that thing you saw a couple of years ago, and it worked locally. I don't think it works remotely.
Yeah, it's I guess really nothing has happened. You know, it's just in your mind. You just sort of think about the possibilities. You know, suppose is that Shizing? There's one. There is one of the provinces in China, which is kind of like Silicon Valley. Shenzhen.
Yeah.
Something happens to a few buildings in Shenzhen, and we're done.
The world will stop.
Oh, and you gotta switch to a different service.
That's true.
It's where that relay thing is.
The problem with the
That's where a lot of stuff comes
devices
from.
that seem to.
It's like the device drivers, and you know, when you set up something remotely, and they need to take care of the configuration, to put it on the servers.
It's usually the cheap stuff that has the weird software already on it that you question. It's some more expensive stuff that you go, it's probably all right, even though it's still going to the same server.
I think about it, even, you know, they have these toll switches, which they go down about once every 50 years. Like the early 80s, they had a cascading outage of these toll switchers, and telephone service all over the country was just messed up.
Yep.
And the problem was a brace, you know. I mean, I worked in the building where it got messed up. They didn't even, they didn't chastise them or anything, you know, because the process was supposed to say that didn't happen. Multi-levels of testing, multi-levels of code inspections, all that kind of stuff. And a brace took down the entire
I
network.
totally hate to be that guy that made part of AWS go down for a day. Well, that happened recently. I think it was one of their, was it the ECs? And it was part of AWS, and a whole crap load of sites were hosted on it, and they went down for like almost a day. And
half the internet was gone.
Yeah, it's like that guy was probably like,
have a good process. That should never happen. That's why you can't beat up that guy.
Okay, well, we do have one more subject to discuss and get out of the way, and go back to this if we want to. You want to tell them about it, Leroy?
Well, I don't know. I know about as much as you do, I think.
Well, you got the email. That's what I got. And you talked to the lady.
I guess.
Do you want to do that project?
Yeah, I'll do it.
She's gonna be the
Or
project lead.
I'll do part of it anyway. I guess when did she say, June or July or something? July. They're having some sort of escape room thing going on here. Now somebody else is actually doing the escape room, but they wanted us to do some lighting type display in the vein of Stranger Things.
Stranger Things.
Can you pull that up? Because
Yeah.
I am actually not connected to my router, which is odd. So
That's you all over, man. Capturing desktop.
The Stranger Things, the idea was from the show on Netflix, Stranger Things. Kid or somebody gets into a different dimension. Something happens. Anyway, his energy is able to turn lights on Christmas tree strands. And the mom paints on the alphabet so that they could talk back and forth. So that was what she wants us to make, like a display. I can do the electronics without a problem. I mean, but I'm not so good on building the woodworking thing to actually make the display. This is,
I'm gonna go further in.
yeah, go near closer to the end because that's a long clip.
It's ignoring me, of course.
Probably right in there somewhere. She nails up all these Christmas trees, lights, and the energy from her son or whatever, she can follow where he's at, and then they start talking.
Okay, baby, talk to me. Talk to me. Where are you? Oh, good. That's good. Come on. I G H T H E R E. Right here.
That's what it's spelling.
Right here.
Okay.
I don't know what that means. Tell me what to do. What should I do? How do I get to you? How do I find you? What should I do?
Run! So, can you show the picture of the LEDs that I actually want to use?
Sharon was given a few months to live if her cancer wasn't treated. I was diagnosed with advanced non-small.
Okay. Got rid of that. Let's see.
Is that some television series?
It's on Netflix. It's a whole series on
8
Netflix.
episodes or something.
I thought,
Or too many.
yeah, I thought it was 8 or 10 or something
The
like that.
5,500 piece link?
Yeah, that'll work. It should
Or
be the
the
same.
instructables?
It should be the same. So those are the LEDs. I'll order a set of those. But basically, I'm not very good at doing any kind of the woodwork or making the display.
What needs to be done, except put the LED goes through a hole?
Yeah.
So it's just a board, some 1/8" plywood with some holes in the right place,
And then paint it.
paint it.
Well, we wanted to look at the original, and it was a real big display,
Yeah,
and I'm wondering how big we want to go and get ideas on.
it was a fairly big display, but
Should it be
this one
bigger
can't.
than 8.5 by 11?
But probably a couple of foot by a couple of foot.
That's not big at all.
8 foot plywood sheets.
I think what we need to do is get these LEDs and see how far the space they are, because I don't know what the spacing is on them.
How big are the LEDs? That's actually.
Yeah, that's
12 millimeter, I think.
Well, that's nothing, that's just a wink.
Have you
That's
seen
pretty
the LEDs from car lights? Like you can get an LED tail light. Those
Well,
things are really bright.
Well, these are serial communicating
I'm
lights
not
here.
about that, because this makes the project easy. You really just need.
Well, that's nothing.
So each lamp has an address and you send out.
Okay,
Huh.
just daisy chain,
So you just need to
multiple colors,
mount these things to.
Well,
like those.
they'll look a little bit better, and they're on a longer strand. They're spread out a little bit more.
5 to 12 volts, 0.3 watt.
How would they attach? What's the end point?
The
Does
wire
it just look like a
length
bunch of.
10 centimeters.
If you look at the
2.5 inches.
if you look at the picture of what she did on her wall, all she did is just strung like Christmas tree lights up. And that's all we really need to do.
So you can put the lights up, and if you want, just like a glue gun.
Yeah, just a
Stick
hot
it in
glue
there.
gun or something.
I got a glue
something
gun.
that may be a lot easier to deal with than doing sheets of plywood.
Yeah.
Good size
8"
sheet of canvas.
8"
Or
plywood,
a
3/8"
bed sheet.
plywood.
Then you can roll it up and easier.
That might be a good idea too.
And hot melt glue sticks to that nicely.
What was your suggestion?
Like
Canvas.
Do something like a sheet or a piece of
Oh, yeah.
canvas instead
Yeah.
of
It's a good idea.
like a piece of canvas stretched in between like a frame or something.
yeah.
Yeah.
Change the numbers down.
And then
Big
she did it
letters.
on the wall like that.
Yeah. Well, obviously we can't do it on a wall. I mean,
Harbor Freight has a nice tan tarp that's like 8 by 12 feet. That's about the size of that wall.
We
That'll
had
work.
some for
It's
the,
$8.
to cover for the Star Wars thing. And I had plastic, that was plastic.
I think that was plastic.
Yeah.
But I was planning on, or I was thinking of using either a NodeMCU or the D1, and then we could just send messages to it, and it could say anything we wanted it to say.
So the spacing was 2.5.
2.5.
So there's 26 letters in the alphabet, 2.5 inches, double that, 60 something.
Pretty small.
That's kind of small, isn't it?
But if it's just 4 conductors between each bulb, can you get just the bulbs? I'm assuming the addressing is done inside the LED.
Then somebody's
itself.
gonna have to wire them.
We probably could cut them apart and make them, space them out longer. Yeah.
That's twice as much soldering though.
But 2.5 inches, if we could get them, do they have any other spacings? Is there a question? They have 6-inch foot.
That's all I've ever seen are those. You can get those strips in 50 and 25, 50, 100, and 1,000, but I don't really think we want 1,000. It's $108 for 1,000 LEDs.
Really?
Is that Leroy prices?
I'm not going to spend $108 on a bunch of LEDs.
I remember when blue LEDs came out, I spent $9 each for blue LEDs because
I understand that, but
standard 5mm.
I understand that, but I am not spending
Leroy has a different standard.
for
Are
I
they
would-
RGBs or
yeah. They're addressable. They're
dot
addressable.
addressable, color addressable? How do you get the number for each one? How do you know what numbers they are?
It's a little bit of magic.
So you have to
It's a little
query
bit of
it.
magic.
There's actually a library that makes life really, really easy for these things. Basically though, it's a bit bang, and you slam numbers in and spacings.
Okay.
You tell it how many pixels you've actually got, and if it has no return back to it. So if you tell it that you've got 25 pixels and you've really got 30, it doesn't know the difference.
Okay.
If you tell it you've got 1,000 pixels and you've only got 10, it doesn't know the difference. But it's slow. So the more pixels you've got, the further down the chain, it's going to be relatively,
Okay.
take some time to actually get to the last pixel. But each one of these, what it does, when it gets a piece of data, it looks to see if it's for it or if there's another one down. And it passes it to the next and the next, and then that one does the same thing. It looks to see and it passes it along, but there's no communication backwards. So it doesn't tell you that it's actually got the same.
Query it for what color it is. Okay.
Now you just, it is.
So 4 leads? Power in and out on each one?
Well, Yes, there's 4 leads. It's power, 5 volt or 12 volt, depending upon the type of strip. An in and an out.
Okay.
And there's no terminator or anything, so I could, like the end of this strip, there's only 30 pixels here. I could add another 30, but I probably have to add more power to it. The Arduino is capable of doing 30 to 60 without adding more power. But I'm thinking for this project, we're probably going to want to put an extra power supply on it anyway, just for stability's sake.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so it's
But
Leroy's in charge of the project. And we'll put it up on Google Plus. Let me show you Google Plus now. We get Google Plus in here.
Let me pay
Frank.
attention.
Okay, here we go. So you log into, this is hard now, Frank. Okay. You log into Gmail, and you see this button over here, social.
Go slow now.
And there they are. This is my new toy from Leroy, and these are the various things that the escape room stuff. I submitted the escape room stuff. Anybody can submit, and then anybody can respond. And you go in here, and when you see them, they're unread, they're dark, just like your mail messages.
It works just like email.
So, so let's go look at this. Look at one, and there it is. And this is telling you it's just mail, but you're not there yet. Here, view the post. If you want to actually look at what he did, there it is.
Okay, so you're posting to Google Plus instead of posting to Gmail.
pretty much
Yep.
Yeah.
in the automation technology.
Okay, got it.
And you need to know how to set up the automation technology group. Is he in there?
He's probably not there yet, but
The
he can
Google
figure
Plus
that out.
guy is in charge of. Okay.
This is pixel 0. That's pixel 29.
Okay.
So actually, it's spelling a message out now. So this would be A, B, C, D, E, blah blah blah.
How's F? Just look up.
Whatever.
Right.
I think it's spelling right here, right now.
Well, not that, I don't think.
You see, this last pixel, it probably should be red. So I probably got some power issue going on because it's not exactly the right color.
Okay, yeah.
So there's probably some weird power thingy going on anyway.
Patty's been getting in there again.
But as far as the code, as far as the electronics portion goes, it's going to be relatively simple. It's
Yeah, strip up top 4 bits and
So you
got the address.
Yeah,
Send a picture
well,
in there.
just straight ASCII.
Included
take the ASCII number
video.
and
So
subtract
it's pretty nice. You can,
out, and you get
so you can see the communication.
your array and just send it. And I can tell it, you know, blue, red, whatever. And then if we said like run, we could spell run out in red, no matter what it actually is supposed to be or whatever.
Something
he
I've
has a
done a few
moderator.
times to make
He's the
LEDs more
And he
visible.
decided to make it public.
Ping
It was an
pong
option.
balls, cut them in half.
good.
Works really good as a diffuser.
That's a good idea. That for those ping pong. See, that's what I was trying to think, because they're just LEDs, or they look like LEDs. But you know, when you look at the actual picture, it's Christmas tree lights.
Yeah.
And it looks like the old style, big, huge.
They actually, probably too late to get them now, but odd lots or big lots, whatever. They had a bunch of what the C7 LED Christmas bulbs, but the plastic was colored. So if you put a multicolor bulb in it, it'd always be red. It'd just be different shades.
Yeah, but see, in the show, it's always one color, but it's obviously they're using some sort of addressable bulb because it's on one strand. So we just need to play around with certain things. Ping pong ball. I bet ping pong balls are cheap too.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
They have them at the Dollar Tree.
We could get ping pong
They don't
balls.
put prices on anything though, so we never know what the price is.
It's $1.
Bowling balls work good as a.
That would be good, just to make the bulb look like it's an actual Christmas ball.
That'd be
Years
cool.
and years.
You
and
get
years
6 of them
ago,
for $1.
I worked at a bowling alley, and one of my jobs was repairing bowling balls and pin setters, and also, I mean, everything. The epoxy that they use on bowling balls, it's got different colors and stuff in it. That epoxy, there was a metallic finish that made an absolutely wonderful diffuser. I was doing the ball 1, ball 2 lights with those. I was putting the epoxy in the end of a soda can to get a nice dimple, and they were beautiful. They had me do the entire house. So
Well,
that's another idea. I can get that pigment still.
Well,
So what's the date of this?
July 21st.
yeah, end of July.
Yeah, wow.
Well, so our first objective is to find we need wider spacing, we think.
Why don't
And-
I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to order the ones from Texas and get them up here, and we'll just see what.
I'll get them. Let's see
How
where.
much for 100 of them?
Uh,
That gives you four LEDs for each letter, and we'll just bake Z.
Okay, which ones you want? 50 pieces? 5 volts?
well, he's got. We could get 2 if you think we want to double up on them.
50, so you want the 50 pieces, 5 volts?
Yeah.
Okay, you want 2 of them?
Well, if you think we should double up on them.
The worst case would be one for me and one for you.
Worst case.
$13? 27 is two sets.
Big bucks. Leroy, you sure?
Well, Leroy was willing to spend $14. I'm not so sure I want to spend $30.
I'm getting one too, or somebody else can get one too. Let's see. Estimated delivery May 15th. That's pretty good.
It's what
Today's the 4th.
4th.
Yeah, today's the 4th.
It's coming from Texas, so I guess that's all right.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's done. And we need to be looking for the better spacing because nobody wants to rewire those suckers.
It shouldn't be that. Really shouldn't be that bad to rewire those.
Just to
Hopefully
change the
we'll have a
spacing. So you're gonna have 4 wires all the way through.
It's already there. The wires are already there. All you have to do is add more wire to it.
Yeah, but that's a lot of
Spacing
connections.
between the lights.
It would probably be easier to just take them off of the wire they're on and redo the wiring.
Remember the cascading.
Probably not.
Yeah.
I've seen these before. They're probably you probably don't want to take the wire off.
But yeah, the deal is we don't want to rewire those things. No, hell no. They're that close together. We would rather have them 6 inches apart or more.
Yeah.
But we just find them. See if we can find them. Just look. Just look. Not gonna hurt to look. And we got some good prowlers. We got Vicente is.
I've
put it
seen
in
them.
Plus.
I've seen them not on a strip, but then they get expensive because you got to pay, I think, $4 or $5 a pixel.
Well, these are wires. These are individual wires here.
No, that's a strip.
That's a strip.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are spaced, what was it, 10 centimeters apart or whatever.
10 centimeters?
Yeah.
Not much.
That's,
You don't even know what you bought, do you, Jim?
No, you told me to buy it, I buy it. I'm just a big guy with the money, okay? I don't need to know that. See, those are wires, individual wires.
It's a strip.
It's a strip. You mean a ribbon cable? It's a ribbon cable.
And if we cut the cables, we can add more to it.
A ribbon cable?
You'd have to cut each one.
Yes.
no, they're
What?
individual wires.
It's individual wire. It won't be that hard to add
How long would it take?
to that.
How long would it take?
It might take,
A weekend.
yeah,
Okay.
I don't think it would take
A couple
very
of things
long.
I do in here every week, and you may not understand.
but at 5 minutes till,
Oh
Okay.
crap, it's
Need-
5 minutes till.